Beneath the placid sunlit fields where white horses graze serenely lies a disturbing reality that few dare witness. A white horse whose pristine coat is marred by a grotesque hive-like wound, pulsing with life and decay. The sight is haunting, a ripple of swollen flesh, festering with an infestation of bees that have turned the animal's delicate skin into a buzzing hive of torment. The clean beauty of the white horse is overwhelmed by the chaotic swarm, a macabre fusion of nature's craft and biological horror. At first glance, disbelief creeps in. How does such affliction come to be? What dark dance has led these bees to colonize a living creature rather than the hollow cavity of a tree? Here begins a journey through the visceral and unsettling world of a bee invasion that turns the symbiotic into the sinister. The wound on the horse is not a simple injury, but a complex ecosystem, vibrant with disease and insect activity. The bees, typically pollinators essential to human agriculture and wild plant life, have inexplicably chosen the horse flesh for their colony, exploiting an open sore or crack in the skin. In the shadowed recesses of the wild, where beauty and brutality intertwine, there lies a stark and chilling tableau. A leopard, once a regal apex predator, now grotesquely transformed by a parasitic invasion that turns its body into a living hive of horror. This is not a tale of mere wounds or scratches. This is a saga of an unholy infestation, a parasitic cocoon hive, a living tapestry of decay and infestation, pulsating and writhing beneath the leopard's skin. At first glance, it is a nightmare-made flesh, a gory spectacle that captures one's fascination and repulsion in equal measure. The leopard's coat, usually sleek and powerful, is marred by swollen, oozing sacs, each a cystic chamber housing the larvae of relentless parasites that feast upon the flesh beneath, exploiting this majestic creature's very life force for their dark life cycle. The parasitic cocoon infestation begins subtly, almost invisibly. A tiny larva, deposited stealthily by the bard of decay, a parasitic fly, burrows beneath the leopard's skin, laying the groundwork for a sinister metamorphosis. This larva feeds on tissue, invisible and insidious, unnoticed in the early stages. As it grows, it spins micrococoons, pockets filled with fluid and multiplying larvae, each cocoon a grotesque nursery sealed within the flesh. The leopard's body becomes a macabre garden, blossoming with these living chambers of parasitic progeny. These cocoons throb and pulse, the animal's movements distorting the hive, causing waves of pain and inflammation that the leopard can do nothing but endure. Beneath the surface, tissue death spreads, and the scent of decay lingers in the air like a silent scream. The science of this parasitism is ruthless and uncompromising. The larvae breathe through tiny breathing tubes that keep them alive, even as the host's immune system mounts a desperate, losing battle. Blood vessels are pierced, soft tissue in the heart of the shadowy jungle, where life and death intertwine like the gnarled roots beneath the canopy. There exists an unsettling spectacle few dare to gaze upon. Picture a magnificent jaguar, its sleek, muscular body once the very image of predatory perfection, now marred by a grotesque wound that festers like an open sore on the tapestry of the wild. This jaguar, a king of stealth and power, is shackled not by claws or fangs, but by a far more insidious adversary, parasites. The breach in its golden spotted skin is a gateway to a sinister world buzzing with life forms that prey quietly, ravenously, hidden from the bright light of day. This wound is no simple injury, it is an ecological battleground. Infested with parasites, tiny architects of decay, this jaguar's flesh is a canvas for their grim artistry. The parasites burrow deep, threading through the tissues, feeding off the host's blood, fluids, and flesh. They are relentless exploiters, masters of stealth, like silent vampires entwined in a parasitic dance, where every inch of the wound thrums with the subtle horror of unseen invaders. Mites, ticks, botflies, each contributes to the macabre symphony of infestation. The wound becomes a repository of decay and regeneration, a grotesque ecosystem where maggots feast and microbial banquet parties unfold, propelled by the damp, warm depths of the jaguar's devastated skin. To witness this is to stare straight into the bowels of nature's darker mechanics, survival at its rawest and most repellent form. Parasite infestations like this are not merely a mark of suffering, but a vivid demonstration of ecological interdependence gone awry. The parasites thrive because the jaguar is vulnerable, its immune defenses overwhelmed by the onslaught. Insects such as botfly larvae have inserted themselves beneath the skin, hatching within the wound and gnawing deeply on living tissue. creating tunnels through which they mature until ready to emerge, leaving behind scars, infections, and continual irritation. Smaller parasites like the ticks latch on, embedding their barbed mouths deep in the flesh, siphoning blood, and perpetrating in the shadowed depths of the unforgiving wild, where life is both a brutal struggle and a breathtaking spectacle. A leopard lies wounded, a once majestic hunter now slowed by a grotesque affliction. Its sleek coat, usually a seamless canvas of golden fur, and inked rosettes, is marred by a horrific cocoon, an unnatural mass enveloping a significant portion of its flank. This cocoon is no mere scar or wound, but a living prison forged by parasites, a dark fortress built at the expense of its host's flesh and dignity. The sight is both fascinating and repulsive. Thick, pallid layers of silk-like material, spun with meticulous precision, encase a festering putrid core. The very air around it carries a sickly sting, a mingling of infection, decay, and the chemical symphony of parasites hard at work. This is no ordinary injury. This is an infestation on a horrifying scale, a parasite's battleground carved into the living skin of a top predator. The cocoon is a breeding ground, a nursery that protects hundreds, if not thousands, of tiny, voracious larvae waiting to burst free in a gruesome emergence. Leopards are solitary creatures, masters of stealth and power. But here, even their cunning cannot ward off such biological horror. These parasites, often botflies or warbleflies, begin their assault in a way that would make even the boldest nature enthusiast shudder. Adult flies lay their eggs in the fur or skin folds, seemingly innocent specks that hatch into larvae specialized for burrowing. Once lodged beneath the skin, the larvae release enzymes that liquefy this unfortunate leopard's flesh, creating air-filled tunnels just beneath its epidermis. The animal's immune system reacts with a desperate barrage of inflammation, but the larvae are cruel architects, continuously reinforcing their sinister cocoons as they grow. The leopard's wound swells grotesquely, a cystic mass pulsating with each breath the animal takes. The parasite's silk-like secretion hardens. Beneath the harsh glare of the African sun, there lurks a figure both captivating and grotesque, a white lion, a rare ghost of the savannah, its alabaster coat stained with something far less beautiful. This is no mythical beast, no regal king adorned with glory, but rather a living canvas of nature's cruel artistry. Clinging grotesquely to its flesh is a barnacle-like wound, a festering outpost where parasites have made their home. The horror of this lesion is immediately gripping, cracked, oozing, and festooned with crustacean-like growths that pulse with malevolent life. It is a stark reminder that even the most majestic creatures cannot escape the vile embrace of infestation. This living wound tells a story of biological horror that unfolds beneath the surface of the natural world, a saga of survival and decay enmeshed in parasitic tyranny. The white lion's barnacle wound is not just an injury, it is a sprawling metropolis for parasites, a grim habitat where numerous uninvited guests draw nutrients and shelter at the lion's expense. These parasites, ranging from blood-sucking insects to burrowing worms, orchestrate their assault quietly and relentlessly, undermining the lion's health and its very existence. At the microscopic level, a legion of minuscule invaders revels in this carnage. Bacteria flourish in the warm, moist crevices of the legion, their populations exploding as they feast on the lion's decaying tissue. Maggots, the larval stage of flies, wriggle and feast on necrotic material, accelerating the degradation until the wound becomes a vivid monument to decomposition. The barnacle-like crusts are the hardened shells of parasitic isopods, living attachments that clamp onto the lion's skin, creating an armor of living filth. These grotesque parasites secrete enzymes that erode the host cells, puncturing open and expanding the wound, a relentless siege that the lion cannot easily escape. Watching this natural yet disturbing interaction, one cannot help but be fascinated and repelled simultaneously. The lion, an apex predator usually feared and revered, is rendered vulnerable, a battlefield upon which microscopic armies wrest control. The parasites not only steal nutrients, weakening the lion's strength, but also introduce in the dim and shadowed corridors of a dense jungle, amidst tangled vines and decaying leaves, there lies a scene that might twist the stomach of even the most hardened observer. Here, a monkey drapes its emaciated frame over a gnarled branch, but it is not the creature's weary posture that captures attention. It is the grotesque, festering hive of parasitic torment cradled on its back. This is no simple wound. It is a sprawling colony of flesh invading parasites, a hellish landscape of writhing, slime-coated bodies burrowing and multiplying beneath raw, oozing skin. The wound pulses rhythmically, like some sick heartbeat, spewing a morass of pus and partially digested tissue. A playground for hundreds of tiny, ravenous invaders. Its nature stripped to its darkest essentials, a vivid, unsettling snapshot of survival through affliction. The foul hive is a morbid ecosystem unto itself. Parasites embed deeply beneath the monkey's epidermis, their hooks and spines anchoring them as they feed